World War I ended on November 11, 1918 with the signing of the Armistice Agreement in Compiègne, France, an agreement signed between the Allies and Germany. Here is a summary of the events leading up to the end of the war. 1. Recent attacks. In the last days of the war, the Allies launched strong attacks on the fronts of the Central Forces, the German Empire, and its allies, which weakened their ability to resist. 2. The collapse of the German home front. At home, Germany's economic and social conditions were deteriorating due to the Allied blockade and naval blockade that was limiting access to food and vital supplies. 3. Internal uprisings. Germany witnessed internal uprisings and protests by people affected by the difficult conditions, which increased the pressure on the German government to search for a solution. 4. U.S. intervention. The United States entered the war in May 1917, and this involvement transformed Allied power, as they had the ability to direct more forces and resources to the European front. 5. Decline of the German Empire. With continuing losses and weak internal support and external pressure, the German Empire became unable to continue the war. 6. Armistice Agreement. On November 11, 1918, the Armistice Agreement was signed at Compiègne, suspending fighting between the Allies and Germany. 7. Treaty of Versailles. In 1919, Germany signed the Treaty of Versailles, which established peace terms and new frontiers, imposed responsibility for the war on Germany, and imposed economic and political sanctions. These major events contributed to ending World War I, and were the result of an interplay of military, economic, social, and political factors. 8. Collapse of the German Empire. After the signing of the Armistice Agreement, the German Empire was subjected to internal turmoil and witnessed a rapid collapse of political and military structures. In November 1918, Emperor William II announced his resignation, and the Weimar Republic was established in Germany. 9. Versailles Conference. The Versailles Conference was held in 1919 to finalize the peace treaty. Germany was held responsible for the war and imposed severe sanctions. The borders of the new states were also determined, and the German Empire was divided. 10. The impact of war on the world. The war witnessed tremendous changes in the international system and global politics. European countries were greatly affected, and many new countries emerged. The war also led to the formation of a spirit of readiness to achieve peace and international cooperation. 11. Signing of the Treaty of Versailles. On June 28, 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was officially signed, one of a series of treaties signed to end the war. This treaty was central in determining Germany's future and was a source of tensions and problems in later years. 12. Economic and social consequences. The countries participating in the war witnessed massive destruction and were affected by economic turmoil. Reconstruction was urgently needed, and many countries experienced economic contraction and high unemployment rates. 13. Setting a course for subsequent wars. An important element of the end of World War I is that it set the course for events that occurred in the decades that followed, including subsequent wars and the emergence of the new international order. In short, the end of World War I was not the end of problems and challenges, but rather the beginning of a new era of political, economic, and social changes that greatly affected the world. 14. Founding of the United Nations. In the wake of World War I, the winning countries realized the importance of achieving international cooperation and maintaining world peace. Hence, the United Nations was established in 1945 to achieve these goals and avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. 15. The impact of war on art and culture. The war was a source of inspiration and the subject of many artistic and literary works. The changes of war also affected the cultures of many countries, and their effects appeared in literature, cinema, and music. 16. Humanitarian problems. The war has caused enormous human suffering, with civilians and soldiers alike affected. Extensive damage to urban structures and significant human casualties created challenges for reconstruction and economic recovery. 17. Revolutions and political changes. Some countries experienced important political transformations after the war, as some of them witnessed revolutions and changes in government systems. For example, a revolution broke out in Russia in 1917 that led to the establishment of a communist government. 18. The impact of the war on women's rights. Women participated greatly in the war on the fronts and in the war industries, which led to an improvement in their position in society and their appreciation of their role. This ignited the fire of feminism and contributed to women gaining greater social and political rights in the decades following the war. 19. Global economic consequences. The global economy was greatly affected by the war, as the massive destruction and costs of war undermined economic stability. It was necessary to rebuild national economies and enhance economic cooperation to achieve global stability. 20. Historical memory. The First World War still occupies a great place in historical memory, and it constituted an important lesson in understanding the impact of major conflicts and the necessity of working for lasting peace. These points highlight some of the influences and deliberations that arose from the end of World War I and how they affected the world in the period that followed. Please support this channel for me more.